The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse Podcast here at Supply Chain Point 2026 in Houston. And I am now joined by two guys from UPS, John Gurney Bell over here and Daryl Forbes. They gave us a great talk today in session, and I wanted to get them on the podcast because they're talking about something that is extremely impactful to shippers out there, warehouse operators, everybody that interacts and interfaces with UPS in some way, focused on RFID. So we're going to learn a little bit about that on the podcast here today. But guys, why don't you kind of introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what you do with UPS.
Sure. I'm Daryl Forbes. I'm Vice President of Operation Technology at UPS. My team manages about 50 products for UPS, most of them internal, and one of them is RFID.
All right. And John?
Yeah, so I work on the strategic innovation side, and I don't know, the best way to figure out what I do, I'm in the advanced technology group, is we try and bucket innovation into what we call now, what we call next, and what we call future. We look at the sort of technology or the innovation curve, then we figure out what problems we're solving for our customer, and then we figure out what the ROI model is, whether it's internal customer or external customer.
All right. Fantastic. Sounds like a fun job.
Oh, it's the greatest job at UPS, but I think Daryl would argue his job is the greatest job at UPS.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have any fighting here today. But, so, tell us a little bit about kind of that discovery approach, right? Because we're here at this event, right? And this event is for executives. It's all about learning about new solutions that are out there, new technologies that they can apply to their operations. So how do you kind of go about that discovery internally for UPS to look at new types of solutions?
Yeah, well, why don't we take the solution that we talked about today, RFID,
Sure.
and you could model that, whether it's any other innovation, but our thought on this thing is first, and if we talk about RFID, the idea is there a problem that we're solving with RFID?
Yeah.
I think Daryl and I would both agree that RFID represents a multiplier value stack with our solution. Now, what I mean by that is RFID has been around a long time. And now the cost curve has gone down, the technology has gotten better, and now UPS is really starting to deploy that to our customers really for a couple primary reasons. The first one is it gives our customers what we would call unprecedented visibility. Okay, unique milestones and new milestones, and RFID enables that for us. The second part of that is there's an enormous productivity piece here. As we transition from a scanning-based network to a sense and respond-based network, we are going to be sensing more packages versus scanning them. And the value prop there is we get better data and we're getting more milestone. Then the third part of that is there's a sustainability aspect to this. And when you think about how UPS has sort of decreased our misloads nearly 70%, now my drivers are not getting a package on the wrong truck and spending miles and minutes delivering that to Daryl's house. Now we are catching that problem or that misload upfront, solving it using RFID and data, and solving that problem real time. And that one helps our internal customer, but more importantly, that really starts to build the value stack for our external customer, because now we have better reliability, better visibility, and we're not having problems driving packages that shouldn't be out there to different places and spending time on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the big value add for the customer is that visibility, right? To know exactly where that package is, not necessarily that it's just been scanned at one point and it's somewhere in between destinations, right?
From the keynote, we played that sort of 30-second spot, and it really talked about what we would call package precision, creating package precision within the UPS network. And that's really what I would say the value proposition is. And Daryl and his team are really deploying that to create that value stack, both internal customers and external customers.
Yeah. All right. So Daryl, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about how you're deploying that, how that's rolling out into the market? Because, I guess the first time I heard about this was about a year ago, right? At the Ship Hero AI event, right? You guys talked about this, and you kind of said that, we don't know if this is going to come out yet, or like, when is this going to roll out? I mean, people were excited, and you're like, oh, well, there's no tentative timeline, but now it's been about a month since actually it's officially out there in the market. Tell us a little bit about now it's rolled out. How is this coming into the market? How are you starting to inject this into the network, and how are you getting this RFID technology out there into the overall UPS network?
Yeah, I think we need to start where we began, which was at Final Mile.
Sure.
And we saw an opportunity to take advantage of the technology to improve what John said, our misloads and our customer experience. And when we first started to look at the program, our primary focus was efficiency, productivity.
Sure.
And while that was a very good approach, we knew that we had to tie the customer into that. So that's what really unlocked our ability to actually get the program started. Yeah. So we started internally, and in our Final Mile facilities, we were already applying a label, a human readable label.
Right.
So that process was already in place. And I want to say we simply just replaced that with RFID.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And now we've got the ability to unlock things on our delivery vehicles that we never had before. John's point. Package is placed on the wrong vehicle. It alerts the employee. It alerts the supervisor. They address it, and we do not disappoint a customer from a service perspective, or we don't waste productivity time for our drivers. And now we're taking that back upstream to the customer. And our customers have shown an extreme amount of interest in what we're doing. They understand the value. And as we move back towards having a shipping label be RFID enabled, or a companion label that will help facilitate with them, the opportunities become great for both of us, so for our customers and for us, because we can take advantage of efficiencies throughout the entire movement of the package throughout our facility.
Okay.
And our customers get fantastic new touch points that they've never seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really, amazing to see kind of some of the real unlocks that are happening because of this technology. Like you mentioned, the productivity gains for you all, and the time savings, obviously, of not having to do all of those manual scans you talked about in the talk, right? I mean, you guys are doing millions of scans a day now manually, right? So that's a huge time savings within that. Now tell us a little bit about, like, what does this look like from a rollout perspective for the shipper themselves, the one that's putting the traditional UPS label on hundreds, thousands of boxes a day? How does this change their workflow? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, I think we look at this from two perspectives. Many customers are printing a typical 4x6 shipping label.
Sure.
So we provide them with a printer that's RFID enabled.
Okay.
And we have technology that it's either already in the package car, or if it's a trailer delivery, we can put portals up outside of our trailers.
Okay.
And in both those cases, we're able to link those RFID reads to our equipment. And what that does is it unlocks a new event called a pickup scan. So today, a customer prints a label, and it'll say label created. It happens today before RFID. The next scan is inside of our four walls. It's called origin scan. So there's a big gap there.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's a package car or a trailer pickup, when that vehicle breaks the geofence, we create a new event called pickup.
Okay.
And the customers have just really been very excited about that capabilities. And then we're building out the infrastructure within our hubs to add more visibility events. When it's unloaded, when it's loaded, is it in distress somewhere in the building? And I think the vision that we have and the vision that we're executing brings a lot of excitement to our customers.
Yeah, yeah. So it will take away that stuck state of label printed.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So very interesting. I mean, to hear that. So you mentioned that you're going to, so you're going to provide RFID enabled printers for the shippers, right? And then in terms of the labels, is it a different type of label that they're using? What does that look like?
It's the same size. It's just RFID enabled. So it's a shipping label with a chip and an inlay that can be either encoded or it's pre-encoded, and it enables that package to be tracked with RFID.
Okay. And then in terms of like, obviously you made this announcement a month ago, and I think you mentioned you have one customer that this is like fully rolled out with in the, I don't know, can we say the customer's name?
Yeah.
Ingram Micro.
Ingram Micro, right? They were our first.
So Ingram Micro, right? The first. But how does this look from a like rollout perspective to the wider market? And does this become the standard for shipping with UPS down the line? And does like the traditional non-RFID label go away at some point?
Yeah, we're not just one customer. Actually, we're 5,500 UPS stores are completely done. They are RFID enabled.
Okay. And at the store, they're printing RFID now.
Yes,
okay.
They are. And other SMB and enterprise accounts that have already been turned on and are starting to see the benefits. Our plan is just to continue to, speed that up.
Sure.
And ultimately, we'd love for every customer to do it. Sky's the limit. I mean, we're really excited about it.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess there won't be a point where UPS will be like, all right, like you have to use RFID.
No. Well,
No. Okay.
I don't see that, John. I don't know if you do. We don't force our customers to do anything that they don't want to do.
Sure. Okay.
So we've built plans to be able to apply an RFID tag for any package that didn't get it at pickup.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. And then I'm curious too. I mean, obviously UPS, the size of UPS is massive, right? And you touch many, many different customers within the logistics realm itself. So I'm curious what your perspective is on now that you will be utilizing RFID. Do you think beyond just tracking packages, but tracking like individual units within inside the four walls, within warehousing, manufacturing, et cetera, do you think that will speed up the adoption rate overall for the entire industry?
You want to take that?
Yeah. I think the simple answer is yes.
Okay.
And, Daryl talked a little bit about us rolling this out to customers. I mean, right after the keynote, Daryl and I now have 2 meetings scheduled with customers to talk more about RFID and how we can sort of light up their network. As I talked to you earlier, I mentioned that we sort of look at technology and solving customer problems in the now, in the next, and in the future. I think your question is eventually, are we going to be able to do, we sort of decipher 2 things.
Sure.
SPSF, or Smart Package, Smart Facility, really looks at what we call carton level or package level visibility. Your question, I think, goes to, if you put an RFID tag on the items in the box, can you now have item level visibility? And the answer is yes, you most certainly can.
Yeah.
And UPS is looking at that technology more on a next and future problem solving, because customers want to solve that problem. But today it's about, as Daryl sort of articulated, getting them, instrumenting their network with our RFID enabled printers, our technology, and getting a pickup scan in sort of elevating their visibility and their reliability. That's happening today. And it will happen tomorrow. And hopefully Daryl and I will talk to the customers and get a couple more customers even tonight. Having said that, we do see a future where next generation sensors that we're using will be able to read item level, but it's on the docket as we speak. And it goes to your earlier question: how do we look at innovation and how do we sort of segment it? Yeah. So that's how we do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. And another big part of this, right, is the kind of the data unlock, right? The data visibility that you'll be able to gain. And you talked about the SPSF, right? Some agentic AI that's going on there. So tell us a little bit about what that's all about and how that's leveraging this new kind of unlocked data from the RFID.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk about it this way. The RFID chip is nothing more than a data vessel. And as I said in our keynote, the people who are going to win are the people that take that data and start doing decision-making with that data. To the root of your question, we see this gorgeous intersection of the physical and the digital, and we think RFID really sits at that intersection and again builds that quantifiable value stack. And the reason why we're so excited about this, this whole conference is about automating your supply chain.
Sure.
We think and we believe that with enough data in the right format, everything in the supply chain becomes predictable. And a lot of the folks that we talk to in there agree with that. So that's where we're really moving. How do we help our customers predict what's going on in their supply chain? How does UPS predict problems before they're happening so they never get to the customer? And to the root of your question, that only happens with getting the data and then being able to do something with the data.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that data, right? I mean, you guys are obviously going to leverage that data in a lot of different ways. But what about from like the customer perspective? Do they get access to that data? How can they leverage that data on their side?
So phase one, or what we're doing now, is our packages get picked up using either what we call a smart package car or a smart trailer. Those packages are loading on there, and as the cars leave, we send that data back saying, hey, UPS took possession of these 1,000 packages in your trailer as that trailer leaves and breaks the geofence. And we give that data back to the customer in their visibility format. So it could be their own format where they're tracking it on ups.com. It might be an API that they're doing in tracking, or it might be a My Choice scenario. But the idea is we create and input those new events in their current visibility system on how they currently consume data for UPS.
Got it. Okay.
So we're not we're not changing anything.
Yeah.
They're using the same process. We're just adding value to the data by giving them more milestones.
I see. Interesting. So they'll have better visibility, and I think you touched on in the talk, and I think we had a 3PL that jumped in to volunteer themselves to be a customer right away, or like after your talk. I mean, from that 3PL perspective, obviously their clients want to know like, where's my shipment or where's my customer's shipment, right? To be able to get to those layers. So that additional data visibility, I think, takes that a long way, right? So to be able to increase those customer service levels and just increase the communication overall to that. So some of the conversation here this week too, as well, has been around AI and agentic AI. So tell us a little bit about how you're leveraging agentic AI on top of this.
Well, a lot of the stuff that we're doing with agentic AI is stuff that we don't talk about publicly. But just truth be told, as I mentioned earlier, the data, the RFID is nothing more than a chip. We're consuming all that data, we're consuming it, and we're looking at ways to create value for our external customers and play that data back to them in the visibility systems they currently consume data from UPS on.
And so when we think about, this RFID, right, and this rollout of RFID, I'm sure some people that are listening to this, watching this, are thinking like, I need that, right? Yeah. So how do people go about adopting this? How do they get into the program or become a customer that is leveraging RFID?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and we got it live, obviously, in the keynote. But the best way to do this is get with your sales professional or your solution development manager at UPS. They are very aware of what UPS is doing, and that would be your first line of contact. So if like those customers in the keynote event, the sales professional will get involved. They will start talking to those customers, surveying what the customer needs. And then from there, we look at instrumenting those RFID assets in their environment and providing the value stack that we talked about. Elevated visibility and reliability. How do we bend the cost curve? Less WSMO calls, less claims, less emails, more time to focus on revenue generating tasks for the customer. And as Daryl said, improved productivity inside of their four walls.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's fantastic. And it's fantastic that it's rolling out now, especially as I got the tease last year, as I mentioned there. So exciting to see that for sure. And I'm curious, so the last question here, we talked, kind of on the customer perspective of UPS, right? UPS's customer, which is the shipper, logistics companies, warehouse companies. Tell us, how does this impact the consumer that's receiving the package at the end of the day?
Well, it's a good question. I think and I'll put this in bold, the value stack is a multiplier effect, meaning this. I got 1.6 million pickup customers, or what you call shippers.
Sure.
Every day, I'm now giving them extended or elevated visibility. And I've got, on any given day, 10 million recipients that's going on with that. So what we do is make the data available to the shipper.
Yeah.
Then the shipper can figure out what they want to do with that data to elevate their consumer experience for their customers. I talked a little bit about this, but we think, as I say, it's a multiplier effect. There's a value proposition for our shippers, and there's a value proposition for their customers. And we're excited that the technology is multidimensional and handles that in both ways.
Got it. So that value is going to kind of trickle down
It will.
ultimately to whoever is receiving that package at the end of the day.
So
Yeah.
as someone who's getting a package,
Yeah.
I'm wondering where it is.
Exactly.
This
Yeah.
closes that gap.
Yeah.
And so the consignees get the immediate benefit, because most people are tracking their goods. They have so many things coming to their homes today that once they get that, I placed an order, label was created. Now they're looking for, when's it going to be delivered? When's it going to be delivered?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a real experience today.
Yeah. And you get kind of a better understanding, I guess, of where that is, what that data is shared with the consumer, which I imagine shippers will start doing to increase the customer service and that customer experience overall too, as well, which I think is such an important thing, because for many brands and companies now, right, that's the only kind of customer interaction they have is the communication via digital or email, et cetera. So very interesting to talk to you both. I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing with us about this RFID project, which is now RFID reality, right? I guess in that
It's not a
sense,
project
right?
anymore.
Yes. No longer a hallucination, as you guys talked about in the talk. Yes.
The last thing, and I think Daryl talked a little bit about this but RFID is it's really a team sport, because especially when you're talking about the supply chain, you touch customer service, the shipper, the recipient, the phone center. And so our thought on this thing is that the value proposition that we see is really built by the UPS team. Again, I'll just put this in bold. The UPS team is embracing the technology and rolling it out.
All right. Fantastic. And definitely appreciate you guys coming here, talking to us about this and sharing about the RFID and how you're rolling that out. So as John said earlier, talk to your UPS sales rep if you want to get involved and get in the RFID program and become a customer that is utilizing that. I think you will greatly benefit from it. And certainly the customers that you are shipping to will appreciate that additional visibility that we talked about here as well. And we'll put more information about that in the show notes, as well as at thenewwarehouse.com. So thank you both very much for taking some time.
You're welcome. It was great. Appreciate you hosting us.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Enjoyed this episode? Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, and for more content from the New Warehouse, find us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Links to subscribe can be found in the show notes, and for everything The New Warehouse, head to thenewwarehouse.com.